With so many vehicles on the road today, responding to a crash scene and extricating occupants from the wreckage is a common occurrence for firefighters and emergency responders. These scenes can be chaotic, emotional, and dangerous events for both you and your patient. However, with the proper training and skills, you can rise to the challenge. Learning how to correctly respond to a motor vehicle crash will help make you a better firefighter, improving your ability to save a life. This program will provide a basic overview of a vehicle extrication incident from start to finish, illustrating the key steps for a safe and successful rescue. In this program, the training objectives are to demonstrate initial arrival at a rescue scene and establishing command, to demonstrate how to size up a rescue incident, to show how to locate hazards, to demonstrate patient access, to demonstrate patient disentanglement, and to show patient extrication from a crashed vehicle. The ultimate goal in vehicle extrication is to rescue anyone involved in the crash while keeping all rescue personnel free from injury. To be successful in this goal, it is vital that you protect and control the crash scene the moment you arrive. Protecting the scene from any external hazards, especially from passing motorists, is the first step. As it approaches the scene, the first vehicle to arrive should be placed to protect the safety of the victims, rescuers on the scene, and passing motorists. Positioning large vehicles diagonally in front of the crash is one way to provide a shield to oncoming traffic and protect the scene. Other arriving units should be directed to park in areas that provide additional shielding to the scene. With the scene protected, a system for providing organization among the chaos is imperative. This organization begins with the commanding officer. Your department should have an incident command system established for vehicle rescues. In this system, the first arriving officer will assume the position of incident commander, also known as the IC. If no officer is on scene, a firefighter may assume command. The IC is in charge of activities on the scene and calls for more resources if necessary. The IC develops an action plan and assigns personnel to carry out rescue operations,
Tool cache forming and start with electrical system shutdown,
while reporting all information and current scene status to the communications center.
Firecom from Purdy Command, 1 additional engine company.
The safety of everyone on scene is always the highest priority. To protect themselves from the many hazards at a crash scene, rescuers should always wear appropriate personal protective equipment. Appropriate PPE includes items such as bunker pants and coats, helmets, gloves, and eye protection. Respiratory protection is required for fighting vehicle fires and in situations involving hazardous materials. Visibility is a primary concern. The fluorescent trim on your turnout gear may not provide adequate visibility. High-visibility safety vests should also be worn over your protective coat in order to ensure your visibility and safety on scene. Traffic control and scene lighting are essential. A busy highway during rush hour can create additional hazards. Be sure to put out appropriate signage or markers to help direct traffic and eliminate secondary crashes. Law enforcement should be summoned to control traffic as soon as possible. Finally, take note of the lighting conditions. Dawn, dusk, or darkness can create additional risks as your team works at the scene and visibility is reduced for passing motorists. Deploy any scene lighting if the situation calls for it. The first company to arrive must provide a size-up report to brief dispatch about the scope of the incident and conditions on the scene. Listening to information from dispatch while en route helps you prepare, but the most important information is gathered once on scene. In a size-up, responders need to check for all existing and potential hazards. This size-up will reveal possible threats as well as identify the need for additional equipment or resources. In the first phase of size-up, the IC should perform an initial survey of the scene. Is the scene as reported from dispatch? What environmental factors are present? Will additional resources be needed? After the initial size-up, the incident can be classified into 3 categories: a minor incident, working incident, or a major incident. A minor incident means all resources currently responding to the scene are capable of controlling the situation without the need of further resources. Typically, this is a scene with minor injuries or no injuries. A working incident is a crash with serious injuries to one or more patients and/or patients trapped inside a vehicle. All on-scene personnel will be involved in a working incident and should be able to handle the response. The last of these classifications is a major incident. When the initial arriving resources are overwhelmed by the incident and additional resources have to be requested, it is a major incident. These incidents often involve multiple victims and vehicles or are spread over a large area. The IC continues the size-up by directing firefighters to complete more detailed 360-degree size-ups around the scene. These detailed 360s give the IC more information about the scene and help determine the perimeter of the incident hot zone. The hot zone is the area around a crash that poses the most threat to responders and patients. Only personnel with assignments from command, appropriate PPE, and training may enter the hot zone. Marking the hot zone is important because it ensures the safety of patients as well as the personnel working on the scene. If hazards are not present at an incident, the hot zone should be marked at 50 feet or 15 meters in all directions from the crashed vehicle. If a vehicle fire is involved, that distance should be increased to 100 feet or 30 meters. When hazardous materials or explosives are present, extend the distance to 2,000 feet or 610 meters or more, depending on the materials involved and containment needs. To properly mark the hot zone, you will need to identify all hazards in and around the scene. To locate all of the potential hazards on scene, as well as identify patients and rescue needs, you will need to perform a 360-degree size-up. Immediately identifying and dealing with on-scene hazards will reduce the chance of injury and reduce the potential for other hazards to develop as the rescue proceeds.
32 will be stabilizing the scene, update to follow.
To identify these hazards, the incident commander or designated crew members move around the inner and outer perimeter of the scene, inspecting all sides of each vehicle involved in the crash as well as the surrounding area. If you are performing the inner circle size-up, look at the inside, outside, top, bottom, left, right, front, and rear of the crashed car. Visually inspect the outer perimeter for any hazards. Look behind guardrails, over embankments, above the scene, and even in drainage grates. In addition to locating victims, there are many hazards you need to identify during the 360. Forming a mental checklist can help eliminate oversight. Hazards to include on this checklist are utilities, including electrical and natural gas services, gasoline and propane, fuel and oil spills, and hazardous materials, as well as liquids leaking from batteries. Other hazards may also exist on scene, such as semi-deployed, undeployed, or loaded airbags and other supplemental restraint systems. While the size-up is underway, another member of the crew should monitor scene safety. ensuring traffic and bystanders are controlled. Information from the 360 size-ups should be reported to Incident Command.
No airbag deployment. We have one patient in the silver car. No hazards, no fluids on the ground.
Got it.
This information is vital to the IC to make an incident action plan.
Green patient over here talking on a cell phone. Okay, got it.
The IC, with information gathered from the size-ups, will create a plan for patient access and inform the crew what needs to be done next.
So let's, Rick, go ahead and get the extrication equipment staged over here. Let's block it.
Vehicle preparation needs to take place before any entry work can begin.
And make sure that
Always stabilize a vehicle before beginning to work on or in it.
all the glass taken out, windshield works.
Proper stabilization techniques will prevent vehicle movement that could injure your crew or the patient trapped inside. Stabilization can vary from chocking and blocking the wheels or using wedges to more advanced techniques that may include come-alongs or a tension buttress system. Once the vehicle is stabilized, the electrical system must be disabled. After a crash, a vehicle's electrical system may still be working, or worse, damaged and malfunctioning. An active electrical system has many hazards, including batteries that could short out and explode, and SRS systems that could unexpectedly deploy. Disabling the 12-volt battery helps reduce these hazards. To disable a vehicle's electrical system, a crew member should first attempt to turn off the vehicle's ignition. Next, locate and disconnect the 12-volt battery. Once you've disconnected the battery, confirm vehicle shutdown and report it to the IC. If you can easily reach a patient from the outside of the vehicle while shutdown is occurring, establish contact and begin preparing the patient for extrication. You may, however, have to enter the vehicle to access the patient. An informed IC can decide the best point of entry.
Patient care to Rick, and then we'll go ahead and take the glass out on the right rear door and get you in that way.
Okay.
Many collisions already provide access points, like broken windows, windshields, or doors that still open normally. If you need to break glass or cut the vehicle near the patient, provide protection to the patient from sharp edges and flying debris. Sharps protection can include blankets, pads on the edges of the windows, hard protection, safety goggles, and hearing protection. The windows on this vehicle have been broken, and the initial patient access can be established. Initial access means using any available openings in the vehicle to contact the victims inside.
I'm with the fire department. Still, I'm going to cover us up with the tarp, okay?
From inside the vehicle, the rescue worker may administer medical treatment to the patient while extrication efforts are underway.
Some hair protection on you. Okay, we're going to get you all covered up.
This rescuer will also communicate with the outside team regarding the patient's needs and entrapment status, or provide additional sharps protection if needed.
Okay, I'm ready, Kevin.
Okay.
In addition to providing protection and medical care, the interior fighter can also assist with the operation. If you are the interior worker and the patient does not need immediate attention, you can begin to pry trim and locate any cutting hazards the exterior team needs to be aware of. You should also look to see if the patient is entangled on anything inside the vehicle, such as a steering wheel or pedals. You may need to work with other crew members to move or remove a pedal or steering wheel, cut a seat belt, or help create more space around the patient. While the inside worker is with the patient, the outside crew, under the direction of the IC, will begin to create an extrication pathway through which the patient can safely and efficiently be removed from the vehicle.
We'll need a relief cut with the Sawzall and the cutters.
Crew members can cut or pry open doors, remove a roof, or even tunnel through a trunk to create a pathway. It is important to continue to provide protection to the patient during these cutting and prying procedures. The rescuer should continue to clearly communicate to the IC what is going on with the rescue. Once an extrication path is cleared, the patient should be prepared for transport to a medical vehicle.
Okay, we're gonna move you, sir.
Okay.
The rescue worker inside the vehicle will communicate with the outside crew until the patient is fully removed.
And ready? One.
This rescuer will determine if the patient is ready to be moved, check that the patient is free from any objects that may prevent movement, and that the extrication pathway is adequate. The rescuer will also ensure that the patient is prepared for transport. When the IC has confirmed with the interior rescuer that patient extrication can begin, the IC will give the go-ahead. The interior rescuer will then take the lead, instructing the team on how and when the patient should be moved to a backboard and removed from the vehicle.
And ready to move again. 1, 2, and 3.
Once outside, the patient can be placed on a stretcher and moved to an ambulance for further evaluation and medical treatment.
Okay, we gotta go into load position.
When a person is involved in a motor vehicle incident and is injured and trapped inside, timely rescue and care provided by first responding personnel is crucial to a positive outcome. The information presented in this program has provided an overview of the basic steps that rescuers should follow for successful vehicle extrication operations. In this program, you have seen how to approach a rescue scene and establish command, size up a rescue incident, locate hazards, access a patient,
Stay right there, look forward, okay? Keep the trap.
disentangle a patient, and extricate a patient from a crashed vehicle. As a firefighter, you will often respond to incidents in which people are trapped and are suffering from life-threatening injuries. Stress and anxiety will be high. But with proper preparation, training, and education, you will have the skills to make the difference and save a life when the call comes in.